All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Swamp. Welcome back for the second ever TikTok Tuesday. And I just got to get the meme out of the way first because it seems like we'll have gone through several times of this already happening leading up to TikTok Tuesday. It seems like this is going to be a normal thing. So we got to start here. I mean, where else could we start?
Try Jesus, don't try me, 'cause I fight. Try Jesus, don't try me, 'cause I throw hands. Jesus talked about getting slapped. When you fuck with me, we're gonna have to scrap. Try Jesus, don't try me, 'cause I fight. I got no problem laying these hands. 2, 3, 4. Try Jesus, don't try me. Yes, but I find.
Try Jesus, don't try me. 'Cause I throw hands.
In the Bible, they talk about turn that cheek, well, that part of that book, well, it don't sit right with me, yeah.
Try Jesus, don't try me. 'Cause I fight.
Try Jesus, don't try me, 'cause I fight. Try Jesus, don't try me, 'cause I throw hands. In the Bible, they don't bother me, I see. That's the only part of that book that don't sit right with me, yeah. Try Jesus, don't try me, 'cause I fight. I got no problem laying these
Yes. All right. I felt like I had to do it. I feel like I always have to do it now. After the weekend stream where I just end up playing it like 16 times in a row. But of course, that's not what TikTok Tuesday is about. Oh, where the hell is it? Here we go. Oh, it just starts playing. That's TikTok for you.
And that was to break us up. I just want to preface, I cheated on her because she had my ass thinking I was 18.
So I figured going forward, I'm going to, if you saw the post that I made in the community page, 3 times a week, we'll do some actual streams. All the other random shit that just ends up being me rambling and I realize that I can't do over the legal limit more than once a week. That's just going to be too much. I always end up drinking too much if I do that. So we'll have over the legal limit on one day. Especially since we started adding call-ins into that. It gets to be too much. But the way from now on, we'll be doing the brand new feature of TikTok Tuesday. Go through, this is my For You page, so it's just whatever random stuff that TikTok wants to show me.
Again, this time talking about the...
And it automatically just
Alright,
starts
I gotta
playing
tell a story.
everything every time too, which is kind of annoying, but... Oh man, the last over the legal limit, holy hell. That was quite a time. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it, but I can't do that more than once a week. That's just too much. I feel like the name alone of Over the Legal Limit, it makes me feel obligated to drink more than I normally would. So we just get out of control. But I thought it would be fun. I always have a few different things pulled up from TikTok, different accounts that I've been watching and looking at and seeing funny stuff on and different hashtags and stuff. But I figured we might as well start it for the For You page and my following page, the people that I follow. It's a good place to start. So let's see what Colby is funny. Okay, I will be the judge of that. That's the name of this. I don't know if this is a transgender person or if it's a lesbian that just looks like a dude. You never know nowadays, you know? But apparently it's okay to cheat. Let's find out. I would disagree, but whatever.
Alright, I gotta tell a story. So this is the story of me and my ex-girlfriend the first time we dated and when I cheated on her, and that was to break us up. I just want to preface, I cheated on her because she had my ass thinking I was asexual. I didn't know it, but she was extremely emotionally abusive.
That sounds like a you
and I
problem.
was
Someone made you
reacting
think
to
you're
that.
asexual. Get out of
I
here.
wasn't attracted to her anymore.
What are you
and I was
talking
very
about?
confused as to why I wasn't attracted to her anymore, because she looked the exact same as when we started dating. So it didn't make any sense to me how I had lost that physical attraction over time until I came to realize I'm demisexual, and if I don't have an emotional attraction to you because of whatever reasons, in her case it was because she's a liar and a skank and she has no fucking personality of her own, so there was nothing to love. But that was why
Isn't it funny how they've made up a bunch of other sexualities that just describe, like, I have to actually be in love with you to be in love with you? There's a bunch of different ones where the summation of it is like, well, I'm so-and-so sexual, it means that I have to have some kind of emotional connection with you or else I will not be sexually attracted to you. Oh, okay, so you've come full circle now. You've come back to normal people. Okay.
I eventually stopped caring about her in that way because she didn't present herself as a person that I wanted to be with or have a partnership with. So there was that. So yeah, I did what any other emotionally, mentally ill person does, and they sabotaged their way out of it. I cheated on her. I fucked someone else, and the very next morning I called her on FaceTime. I didn't know what else to say, and she was like, "Are you breaking up with me?" And I was like, "Yes." And that was literally how
Why do people even feel the need to record this kind of shit? I mean, honestly, what's the motivation to be like, I'm gonna post this on TikTok? This is literally interesting to nobody but you. No one gives a shit about this. Oh, you were an asshole. You were a bitch and you cheated on somebody. I don't really care why you cheated. Who gives a shit? You're an asshole. You cheated. You should have broke up first. Come on. Don't be that guy. I'll be generous here since I'm being kind of harsh. I'll be generous. Don't be that guy, Colby. Yeah.
we broke up the first time, and it was bad. She pulled up to my house. She tried to break in. She was fucking banging on my door, getting me to try to talk to her. I just sat in my back room and cried
Shocker that
until
all
she
these
left.
people are crazy.
Fast forward, like, what, 2.5 months, and I am going downhill emotionally. I'm starting to fall back into this, holy crap, I'm alone and I don't have anyone and I'm all alone and I don't want to live. And I was suicidal, honestly. I was reaching a very low place, and I wanted her back. I was like, you know what? I miss her. I couldn't stop thinking about her. Come to find out, oh yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about her because she was manifesting me. She wrote my name in the journal.
It's always great to listen to people who are just completely insane. I mean, hence TikTok, obviously, but it turns out she was manifesting me. Oh, yeah, okay. Whatever the hell that means.
And a bunch of shit about me in a journal. While she was dating somebody else to get over me, she was still manifesting me in a journal, which totally makes sense why I couldn't stop thinking about her. Powerful bitch. So
Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense.
I reached out to her and I was like, what the fuck? Because she was posting on
You
Twitter
don't have
and
to tell
she
me
was
twice.
tweeting
That
all
makes
these
sense.
tweets to piss me off, and she only used Twitter for me, and she admitted it too. So she had admitted all of this. This isn't me saying like, oh, this is what I think happened. We talked about every
Why do so many of these as they call themselves the trans mask community, they say they're presenting masculine, but they just end up looking like a 13-year-old white boy who just discovered rap? Why is that? Why is that their version of masculinity? I mean, Colby here is wearing these stupid gold chains. Yeah. And that little tiny 5 o'clock shadow mustache. Oh man, and then those terrible plugs in the ears that like everybody got at Hot Topic. Oh man. Why? Why do they always end up looking like that? I don't understand it.
every minute of our breakup and relationship.
Let's see if we can get through this.
discussed all
God,
of it.
we're only
Okay,
like
so
just
I
over
knew
halfway
exactly where
through
her
the
head was at,
story.
and
Jeez.
she knew where mine was at every given moment after we had started talking again. So when we hung out for the first time after we had reached out to each other, because she was posting on Twitter and I got triggered, and I was like, you want to talk to me? Fine, I'll pull up right now. What the fuck do you want to say? And then she's like, whoa, I was just posting that to get your attention. You wouldn't talk to me. So I'm like, okay, what? And we hang out, and immediately she's on some fuck me eyes, fuck me touching on me. And I'm like, listen, you have a girlfriend. You have Farron. You have a whole girlfriend that you dated to get.
Of course, the girlfriend's name is Farron. Farron. Okay.
Over me, bitch. How about you go fuck her? I said, I'm not gonna fuck you till you dump her. And so she texted her, immediately texted her, broke up with her, said, I want to try things again with Colby. Farron called her on FaceTime while I was.
It says to like it for part 2. Should I like this story to
Well, you go fuck her.
so we can get part
I'm
2?
not gonna fuck you till you dump her. And so she texted her, immediately texted her, broke up with her, said, I want to try things again with Colby.
Get the saga, because man, this is what a drama. I mean, this is on the level of like Shakespeare or something. Whether you are a lesbian or not, everything that they just said is batshit fucking crazy. Like, even if you were in a straight relationship like this, you get the hell away from that person. You do not spend any time around that person. Either. There was not a single decent person involved anywhere in that story. Not a single one.
What's up, fuckers? It's tea time. Today we have a hairline that wants to make a deal with God. It's running up that forehead with no problem. This clown is Matt Gaetz. If he was a talented...
Doesn't this guy have almost the exact same hairline as Matt Gaetz? Wait. I mean, am I crazy? Enhance. We need to... Sure, buddy, sure.
No problem. This clown is Matt Gaetz. If he was a talented pianist, his best performances would be in A minor. At least according to the federal investigation he's under for alleged sex trafficking of an underage girl. He's a clown and a sex offender. John Wayne Gatesy. If he wanted a career where he could put things in the mouths of children, he should have...
when there was tons of things, like, it drives me crazy. Trump is the easiest example where, like, these people who hated Trump, they couldn't make any good jokes about Trump, which is just ridiculous because there's tons to make fun of about Trump. But they'd always just go back to the, like, Cheeto Man. Oh, he's got small hands. The best comedy I ever saw about Trump was from right-wing commentators. Man, some of the skits that Crowder did of Trump, oh my God, had me rolling. They were hilarious. It's like they're trying to imitate. He's trying to imitate humor. He's not actually funny, and he doesn't understand what humor is. But he knows kind of what it is, so he's trying to make jokes that he thinks already exist, and it just, well, that's not funny, man. And hey, I'm self-aware enough to know that, hey, you know, most people don't find me funny, but, you know, I don't claim to be funny. I just say shit, and if it is funny, great. I don't walk around talking like this. I don't even know what's going on here. We might have to actually go to this guy's page because something tells me this would be a gold mine if we're just insanity. Oh, yeah, and you're right. I mean, Matt Gaetz is whatever. I never really cared about him. I never really paid attention to him. I've seen some clips from him. But yeah, that most recent clip of him calling all the pro-abortion people just like fat and ugly. And I'm like, well, what would you say to people who would say that's offensive? And he just immediately said, well, be offended. More people need to do that. What would you say to those who call you racially insensitive? Fuck them. Couldn't that be I don't care. If you want to be upset, be upset. I'm not going to change my life because you're offended.
taking up pediatric dentistry. Although I don't know that those are the cavities he wants to fill. But as a sexual predator with semi-average intelligence and a disdain for accountability, Mr. Gatesy knew a political career as a Republican would be the way to go. The P in GOP stands for pedophile, after all. Recently, Mr. Gatesy made an oopsie-doopsie.
Says the guy who's speaking like this educated Southern gentleman that are quite often portrayed as sexually sadistic pedophiles in literature, film, all over the place. But okay, sure.
And decided to publicly roast abortion activists at a conference. He said they're odious on the inside and out. They're 5'2", 350 pounds, and have ankles weaker than the legal reasoning behind Roe versus Wade. He said that they should get up and march for their rights for like an hour a day and even mix in a salad. The resiliency of the willfully ignorant is almost inspiring in its own way. But since Matt wants to roast, let's roast.
This dude reminds me of that guy from King of the Hill, who's Bill Dauterive's cousin. The guy that publishes the literary review down in New Orleans. You know what I'm talking about? The guy who's a homosexual and admitted a person who's attracted to younger males. Yeah, Joubert. Yeah. It reminds me of him.
I don't know that he'll feel these sick burns over the burning of chlamydia. He's so sleazy, I imagine even his crabs have gonorrhea and syphilis. But I, too, am resilient. Matt strikes me as an individual who's never penetrated something that was sober, sniffs his sister's panties, and bites his bottom lip when he wipes his own ass. Speaking of, the way he holds those lips indicate he could be the product of fourth-generation inbreeding. Is that why you're against exceptions for incest? Just curious. But then again, those derp lips could just be a side effect from the recreational cocktail of pharmaceuticals he swallows just to get through the day. His eyes are almost crossed like a Siamese cat's, and his ghostly pale cheeks look squishier than a pouch of Capri Sun. Perhaps a salad might help. Well, slimming down those cheeks might make his gargantuan forehead look even bigger. The Yellowstone volcano could erupt in Matt's
I
forehead.
actually really want to like this bit because damn, this guy's put a lot of time into this. This video is over 3 minutes long, and on TikTok, that is quite an accomplishment. And I mean, he clearly put a lot of work into this, but it just can't be funny if you're just insulting a person because you don't like them. It's got to have something behind it that you're, you know, is it just me? I don't know. I mean, like, I actually want to like this video because of how much time he clearly put into it. And he must have done this dozens of times to get this take done. But I mean, but they're just, yeah, but they are just insults though. It's like, I appreciate like what you're doing, but it just, okay, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe he's not trying to be funny. Maybe it's more of like a rap battle kind of funny, where it's just, if you come up with the right insults, like if you got the right "yo mama's so fat" joke, then it works, you know? Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe this is just going over my head. Or his intent is going over my head. I mean, clearly there's a lot of work put into this, so I mean, respect for that. And God, we've still got over a minute left.
Head would still be the biggest thing to talk about. All that space for a brain the size of Marjorie Taylor Greene's pores. Pea-sized. Anyone who tries to link lesbians being sexually assaulted to gays adopting children can't have a normal-sized brain. Those things go together like tonsillitis and peanut brittle. But all right. This big-headed bastard believes if the government forces all lesbian women to give birth to the babies that were a result of rape, then that will fulfill the need for adoptions by gay couples. It's interesting, though, that someone who just voted against codifying same-sex marriage is so
maybe I just don't know enough about Matt Gaetz. Maybe this is totally hilarious. Maybe that's the problem.
concerned about the needs of gay couples, or did he not have the brain capacity to remember that he did that? Oh well, just as long as he remembers to stay 500 yards away from public schools and local parks. I want everybody to have a great fucking day unless you support John Wayne Gatesy.
See, again, like that, he said that earlier too at the beginning. John Wayne Gatesy. I appreciate the play on words, but it just doesn't hit as funny. Like maybe I just don't know enough about this guy. That's another thing that's funny is I see people attack people like Gates all the time, as if that's somehow gonna upset me. He like on Twitter and said, well, what about this Republican who did this shit? And I'm like, I don't know. Sounds like a fucking asshole. What do you want me to say? I don't know. Well, aren't you a Republican? No. Well, I thought that surely you. No, I don't. I mean, I generally don't pay attention to people who don't do anything, and that's most Republicans. Most Republicans don't do anything. They just bitch about nonsense and then vote the opposite of what their constituents want anyway and vote alongside Democrats. They're just who was it that said that about the they're just a Democrat speed bump most of the time, where they pump the brakes a little bit, but they end up agreeing with them in the long run. I don't have any more respect for them than I do for the other people, but they don't have any power most of the time. So, I mean, who cares? I don't care really what they have to say most of the time. You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is someone that I have listened to enough, and I do like what she has to say, and I do see her get smeared all the time. Well, actually, it's the only thing I ever see about her is her getting smeared by people. And then you go listen to what she said, and you go, well, that was a little disingenuous. Just like Trump. There's plenty of things you could make fun of Trump for, but then they just go for, well, he's a racist and he's got small hands. And you're like, well, that was just lazy. And you claim to hate this guy, and you couldn't come up with anything better than that. Man, that's a bummer. I'm going to open this guy's profile up because I kind of feel like we should watch some of his stuff. I appreciate the effort. I really do. Hell, that whole bit and it being done in one shot, man, that took way more effort than almost any of my videos have ever. I just live react to stuff and edit it together. Hey, credit where credit's due. That was impressive. Oh, man, did I not say it? Why do so many of these lesbians or trans mass, what they call themselves, they always end up looking like some 14 or 15-year-old white boy who just found out about rap? I mean, this just proves what I just said, right? I mean, they always end up looking like that. What is that? Why do they do that? I don't understand that. Why is there no difference between a teenage wigger and a lesbian? I don't understand that. When did that start happening? I don't know. They listen to too much Eminem? I have no idea.
Okay, stand by. Okay, I gotta read. I'm gonna go find a Bible, but before I do I use the read? Do I rub the Bible?
No, this is stupid.
Hey, y'all, here are a few things that I cannot do as a felon on parole in Texas.
What?
Y'all, I cannot break the law, even the most minor
What is this and why is it popping up?
The smallest of misdemeanors could get me sent back to prison. In Texas,
Of
felons
course, yeah.
cannot own or possess a firearm until 5 years after they've exhausted their sentence. For me, that's 2035. I won't be heading to the polls this fall because in the state of Texas, felons can't vote until
I'm
they've
curious as to
exhausted
what the
their
point of
sentence.
this is going to be.
For me, I'll be able to vote in 2030. No
Are
impromptu
we supposed to be
vacations
upset?
for
I don't
me.
understand.
I'm not allowed to leave the state without prior written approval from my parole officer.
Of course.
No visiting my Canadian friends. Canada does not let American felons in.
Those Canadian
Y'all,
bastards.
I cannot rent a decent apartment. Decent apartment complexes do not rent to felons.
Same thing with
Because I
jobs.
have
They
a
ask
money
you if you've ever
crime,
been convicted of a
y'all,
felony.
One of my parole stipulations is no checking accounts. Also, because the nature of my crime, I'm not allowed to have a debit card or bank card of any type, no credit cards, until my sentence has been exhausted in 2030. Hey, y'all, here are a few...
Wait, so... she just stated the... Like, she just stated the rules of her parole. I don't... Were we supposed to feel bad for her? I don't understand. Like, what was the point of that? Huh. I don't know. Let me know. I have no idea what her point was supposed to be there.
Majority of people walking away from Christianity in America are not rejecting the person and work of Jesus.
No, I'm not going to go through that. If
damn process.
Anger grandma in store.
Motherfucker. $6 per day.
No thanks.
Summertime means I get to use my air fryer a little bit more often because that big oven back there kind of heats up the house.
No, go away. Go away.
When we get anxiety. My anxiety is a doozy, but this ass is hella juicy. Now what do we say?
TikTok makes no sense, man.
This living dinosaur gets its name from its blood-red gills.
I went viral
What is
again,
with this?
this time
Just a
talking
random,
about the
random shit they put on the For You page for TikTok.
The frilled shark.
I went viral again, this time talking about the difficult pronunciations.
Well, I mean, not having a checking account is definitely a huge fucking bummer. But I'd have to know what the charge was. Because that's what she said. She said that had to do with her charge, not because it's just a general thing. That had specifically to do with her charge. I hear shit like this all the time online, and especially on TikTok from leftists about how, like, these punishments are totally unfair. And, like, 9 times out of 10, you go, well, what is it? Tell me about it. And you go through it, and you go, yeah, I don't give a fuck about that. What do you... No, that the punishment is reflecting the crime. If it's a felony, and depending on the felony, usually it's just nonsense. I mean, like, as far as what they're bitching about. I've been arrested a few times and had to plead guilty to random... Like, I had, like, a DUI in college. And I mean, I never had a felony or anything like that. But it's like, I bitched about the stuff I had to do all the time because it sucks. It's a pain in the ass. But if I'm honest, well, yeah, that's exactly what you would expect to have happen. I mean, it's like, I had a breathalyzer in my car after college because I got a DUI. That sucked, and that thing didn't work properly. It was a total pain in the ass, and they told me that the breathalyzer doesn't even work half the time, and if it gives a false reading, you get screwed no matter what. And they said it was about a 50-50 shot whether it would give you a bad reading. So I basically just stopped driving altogether because it's like, why would you take that risk? But I mean, come on. What else would you expect? I mean, that's just kind of how it works. Well, restricting firearm ownership overall for any felony, I think, makes sense. You know, call me maybe that makes me a kooky liberal, but not a permanent, ban. But I mean, our founding fathers probably would be on board with all that kind of stuff as far as they were very strict about who could vote and these different things. It wasn't just this. They didn't want democracy because democracy is crazy. Everybody having a voice? Well, some people are fucking stupid. Okay? We don't want everyone to have a voice. And especially if you've committed a serious crime that would be categorized as a felony, then yeah, you're gonna have to forfeit some rights because you have shown that you are not suitable to be in civilized society. And that's coming from someone who has had arrests for certain things. So I understand that. I said nothing that was a felony, but that makes sense. That's a lot. That's a logical repercussion. Oh, if you live in a society, as the Joker meme says, God, we live in a society. Of course, I think we need reform across the board, but yeah, come on. All right, let's see the people that I follow. Let's see what they're saying now. the new
Are
people.
pastors allowed to marry same-sex partners? I plan to be married both as a gay Christian and as
the gay pastor, the gay reverend.
Are pastors allowed to marry same-sex partners? I plan to be married both as a gay Christian and as a gay pastor. There's no sin to being gay because our relationships are a reflection of God's love. Our marriage deserves equal blessing to any heterosexual relationship. Are pastors allowed to marry same-sex partners?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I agree with that. I'm going to leave that there so I don't get in more trouble.
This on my FYP, and as a bisexual person, I wanted to say something. I don't know if your words just aren't coming across right in my brain, but I just wanted to clarify this. Again, not exactly sure if this is what you were saying, but yeah. So a bisexual person is someone that is attracted to 2 or more genders. You don't have to date 2 different genders to be considered bisexual. Some people just happen to only date someone of the opposite or same or whatever gender. That doesn't mean that they were never attracted to, crushed on, slept with, or whatever with someone outside of the gender that they usually date. Some people just end up only dating the opposite or same gender when they're bisexual. Sometimes it's preference, sometimes it's circumstance, and that's okay. It does not invalidate their bisexuality, though.
Well, if it's preference, then it certainly invalidates the bisexual label. If you prefer to only sleep with one sex, then by definition, you are not bisexual. What does that mean? I don't know. Oh, God, it's Josh. Oh, God, it's Josh. Love all trans bodies. Do it now. What is wrong with people? Why do they post this? If that's how you look, fine. But why make us have to look at it?
Getting out of hand. I'm gonna need y'all to talk amongst yourselves and figure out who's going to take one for the team and kiss me, because I haven't been kissed as a girl yet. And look, I can be sexy. You know, you can take me home to your family, but I can be a bad girl. You know, but time's a ticking. I don't know how long I'm gonna look this good for. All right, we can go to the Cheesecake Factory. I'll make you laugh. As long as you'll watch Twilight with me.
This is you looking good, huh? You don't know how long you'll look this good. Okay. We'll just... Sure.
Me? Let me know. Love ya. Okay, bye.
Well, that
all right,
was,
this is getting out of
that
There's a
was
race
something.
between her, time, and fucking gravity. Tell me I'm lying.
I mean, you're not wrong, but that's because you're quoting a meme that has been circulated between people with periods.
Why do people... I won't say anything. I can't always be too mean, and then I'll eventually get taken off of YouTube. What is this? A girl gets out of the shower, blah, blah. Oh, well, who really gives a shit about this?
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack yesterday. Yesterday is a hard word for me.
That's a big word for Elmo. Tomato sauce.
Oh, this is the one that everyone supposedly were supposed to be freaked out about the Trump revising his speech before he says it, and we're supposed to be like, this is supposed to have somehow be alarming. I don't know. I'm sure most of you have seen that.
So this is a message for anyone who dates men.
Oh, hey, this is the person that had that crazy story about the little black boy when she was in school. Remember that on one of my videos? Throwing a plum. You know, that story that totally happened. 100% happened.
There are men out there who have their shit together and they want to date you. Let me say that one more time. There are men out there
I 100% disagree with that. Just on
who
principle.
have their shit together and they want to date you. So stop settling for fuckboys, for guys who don't know what they want, who are going to lie and cheat and treat you like garbage and expect you to do everything. Because there are men out there who have their shit together and they want to date you.
I didn't realize that this woman was so pro-life and anti-abortion. I mean, that's That's basically the same advice I would give to any woman who was saying that, like, well, I have to have an abortion. Well, I mean, or, you know, just stay with me here. You could just not have unprotected sex with people who are scumbags. I mean, that might be like a number one thing that you could do. But I guess if you frame it that way, then it's inappropriate. Yeah, I don't care.
To tell the story without an all-white, cis-abled cast? Have you considered not? If you can't find a way to tell the story without an all-white, cis-abled cast, have you considered not?
It's amazing how racism is allowed when it's about white people. It's just awesome. All right, here. If you could make the story about NWA, but without a bunch of black gangster guys from Compton, why wouldn't you? One day I'll be big enough to be on Media Matters, and then I'll get to see those clips where I make these jokes, and they'll talk about it. It's going to be fantastic. It'll be my greatest hits. I can't wait.
Often when I make videos about being an openly queer high school teacher, I'll get comments telling me that my personal life should be kept to myself and that my students should know close to nothing about me. And it strikes me just how many people grew up with teachers who never took the time to treat them like people, who seem to have never engaged in conversation with them or listened to them, where it seems like there was very little mutual respect. I'm an English and a film teacher, and my students very regularly engage in conversations about morality, identity, and empathy. I ask them to learn how to be vulnerable and curious. I don't impose my views on my students, and I have very clear communicated boundaries, but I often also model how to have those kinds of conversations with yourself and other people. So I truly am so sad for people who grew up with teachers that only saw them as trivia sponges. Nurturing curious, critical thinkers takes so much more than that. Often when I make videos about
I'm going to have to press X to doubt on that one. That you don't, you don't bring this stuff into the classroom with you, but you know.
Scrolling through videos on your phone, you can thank a transgender woman for that. Let me tell you the story about the
I
trans
can't wait to hear
computer
this.
scientist who pioneered supercomputers, got fired for transitioning, went stealth, and revolutionized computing all over again in the 60s and 70s. I'm talking about Lynn Conway. Lynn, assigned male at birth, was born in 1938. She attended MIT where she attempted to transition but was not allowed to. She then joined IBM where she pioneered the world's first supercomputer as well as out-of-order processing. After transitioning, she was fired from IBM in 1968. She took on the name Lynn, went stealth, and had to start from the ground up as a contract programmer with no experience. She worked her way up through Xerox where she invented VLSI, which allows computers to be small enough to fit in your hand. She broke stealth in the year 2000 where she became a major transgender activist. Cis and trans people can thank her for her contributions today. I'll leave with a short clip of her.
A lot of us are actually rather cool people. I think you might enjoy meeting us all.
Here's an interesting fact. Lynn Conway is also pioneering
Why did you make the audio so quiet? I can't hear it.
Scrolling through videos on your phone, you can thank it.
But this is one thing that people love to do is because someone was involved in the process that suddenly they're now integral and they invented it. I would have to do some research to try to figure that out because a lot of the times when people bring stuff up like this, you look into it and you go, oh, okay. Well, I mean, they were there. I mean, and they may have even contributed. They may have even contributed a significant amount. That's not the same as saying, well, they are responsible for. I mean, that gets done all the time, not just on the left or, you know, that everybody does that, man. They when the story is better to have that person be like significantly involved, they'll just say that. And then, you know, it's like things in NASA where they talk about, oh, this gay person or, you know, this black woman who did blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you look into it and you go, okay, well, they were on a team of like 60 people. Like, I don't think that NASA, well, except for, I mean, we all know that the early days of NASA was, I mean, those were the, paperclip. I mean, those guys. We don't like to talk about them. But I mean, overall, I mean, if there's a team of 60 people, I mean, sure. If it makes your story better, sure, fine. Let's just do it.
This is your daily reminder that hot people do not go on diets for the summer. Hot people are working on unlearning fat phobia and being anti-racist. Stop cutting out your food groups, Diane. This is your daily reminder that hot people do not go on diets for the summer. Hot people are working on unlearning fat phobia and being anti-racist. Stop cutting out your food groups, Diane. This is your daily
Okay. Oh man, this is actually the best part of this video. Look at this in the comments. This is the world they want. This is hilarious, actually. Watch this. So somebody commented on this. Your mask is upside down. I don't know what James Chaos is. But yeah, also thank you for protecting people. But you had to point out that it's upside down because you gotta, come on, you gotta do it right. And of course, ha 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 ha. Yeah, I was walking into the grocery store and immediately fixed it when I tried to put it on. These are actually real, honest to God human beings. I mean, everyone has to be so on top of whatever it is, and calling out other people on stuff like that is so important. Your mask is upside down. I was walking into the grocery store and immediately, all caps, immediately fixed it when I tried to put it on. That's what makes the difference. If you're aware enough to know that your mask is upside down, man, that's how you know you're saving lives. Upside down, not as effective. When it's upside down, it's only like 97% effective. When it's right side up, it's like 118% effective. And that's the real deal. I mean, Fauci said that. I mean, that's you can fact check me on that one.
What's a movie that's a ripoff of another movie and no one seems to notice or care?
You guys are going to be mad about this one, but it must be said, this is just a ripoff of this. Wake up!
What's a movie that's a ripoff of another?
Okay, that one was actually funny. I'll give it to a gay when he's got jokes. All right, that's a good one. And I guess, again, you can quote me on that because it sounds like I want to have sex with men. With God.
It's running up that forehead.
Okay, I'll never give it to a gay, even if he has jokes. How about that?
What's up, fuckers? It's tea time.
Go back to this guy.
Today we have Plaque Frost. He's a frosted 44, but is the plaque in his heart or his teeth? Jesus, finger painting Christ. The plaque in his teeth is thicker than the grout between bathroom tiles. Toothbrush is definitely decorative, but
who is this guy? Should I know who this guy is? American businessman, pastor, and politician. Okay, Texas House of Representatives. Can't say
he's
I know
got to
him.
decorate with something. All that plaque and not a single one for the wall. He hadn't accomplished much since his time as Ernest J. Keebler. He loved making cookies in that tree for the longest time. But that tree fell on someone back in '84. That person survived, sadly, and now governs the Texas Taliban and is a known constituent killer. And he's rolling over their graves to the bank as we speak. Vote Beto. But enough about the Greg Reaper. Let's get back to Brian Slayton, and his initials are BS for a reason. He's an
I'm not going to be into this if I don't know who he's talking about. Let's go to someone that I know.
What's up, fuckers? It's tea time. Today we have a manufacturing defect from the Ugly Mannequin Factory, Texas Adultery General
I'm into it.
Telly, also known as Ken
I don't know.
Born from a sphincter and cursed with a face that just screams, "I want a baby Ruth." Unfortunately for our little rectal Republican, it always looks
that's
like
a good
he's
joke,
been
though.
awake for a decade.
That one actually is a good
Bless
joke.
his heart-shaped void. He may be hard to look at, but at least he's...
Yeah,
What's up, fuckers? It's tea
you gotta
time.
find someone that I actually
Today
could,
we have
could speak on.
Saccharomyces cerevisiae, a species of yeast.
Okay, here we go.
It's believed to have been originally isolated from the skin of grapes. This grape looks more like a raisin. But this is moisture-free margarine, so we know why the face is withered and desiccated. It's interesting, though, how the hair is so dehydrated, but is still the color of hydrated piss. It's also interesting how this Neanderthal's hands rival the talons of a vulture. Got her some white claws. You are what you drink, I guess. No longer a Clorox Christian, huh? But there has never been any continuity with old Leatherface here. I call that continuity. Well, she has always had those Popeye the Sailor Man arms. It's because she's always at the gym, cheating on her husband. When this Karen asks to speak to the gym manager, it's not to gripe, but to get some pipe. But some men just prefer skin that looks and feels like Corinthian leather and an embrace that's cold like a stepmother's. And
I still think he's Gilbert from the Dautrive clan.
I love an open-minded man, though. He deserves a free meal or psychiatric evaluation. But when Karen the Bounty Hunter,
I guess maybe I have misunderstood what the point of his videos were going to be. I thought it was going to be like one of those funny things where it's a bunch of roast while rebutting something. I guess he's just roasting. Okay, maybe I understand it better now. Maybe I didn't get it from the Matt Gaetz video. Maybe I understand it. It's just a roast insulting people. Sure. I can get behind that.
Sanctity of her marriage on the floor of a locker room or up against a filing cabinet. She's out hunting for justice. Currently,
I just can't believe that this dude over here is slut shaming, because I'm pretty sure he probably wouldn't be down with that. I mean, not that I'm saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a slut, but that's what he's saying in his jokes. And that's just not cool, man. You know how many slut marches I've been to? Naked bitches everywhere.
She's on the hunt for justice for the nation's domestic terrorists. She said, "We found justice for George Floyd, but she hasn't seen any for the January 6th insurrectionists." You know, America doesn't negotiate with terrorists, but Miss Margicel sure does pity them. Well, the white ones. Interestingly enough, Marjorie said she hasn't bathed in days, shaved, or had a haircut. She said she's filthy, dirty, disgusting, and extremely unhealthy looking.
Why does it keep walking through smoke? Did anyone else notice that? Maybe it's like a vaporizer or one of those it's like incense things. I mean, not like a normal incense, but like the ones that are in those, like the ones that you plug in, you know? Honestly, I didn't go to college and I don't live in the city, so but I've seen it on TV.
And you know, I couldn't agree more. You know, Marjorie's presence alone could plummet the property value of an... What? Oh, Marjorie was saying those things about the terrorists in jail, but to be fair, that little picture she was painting looked a lot like that. Marjorie, jail is not an all-inclusive resort, and I'm pretty sure they looked like that before they even went in there. It was a hillbilly heist after all. Halitosis, yes. Hygiene, not so much. But, moving right along. Did y'all know Marjorie's got herself an intern now? Our little girl, banana-jawed and bird-clawed. She's moving on up. Her new intern is Milo Yiannopoulos. He's a pedophile sympathizer and a recloseted homosexual, and it's strange that the Yeasty Yeti would hire a pervert protector since she so badly wants to protect the children. But we can't be too hard on her. I'm sure it's hard to find a Republican man who isn't a kitty diddler, and she found one who just supports it. Oh, you really do care. Oh, you sure haven't shaved. You know, I've got a barber who'd be perfect for you. Goes by the name of Sweeney Todd. I'll get you an appointment, monostat. Oh, that joke never gets old. You know what else doesn't get old? Listening to...
Oh, man, this one's 5 minutes long, but hey, respect where it's due. I mean, the guy can certainly go on and on and on. And his jokes aren't half bad. None of them have made me like laugh out loud yet, but I can respect it. I mean, he's certainly already better than almost every single late night show host. Maybe like Kimmel and Fallon and the rest of them need to get this guy as a writer, because at least then maybe they could come up with something that could give you a chuckle every now and then. You know what I mean? I've never been one for, like, I mean, in my everyday life, I swear like a sailor and I say all kinds of crazy shit, but when it comes to comedy, that stuff that doesn't really do much for me. The like being the particularly vulgar, which I know is surprising. You think that I would be into that, but people think I like Alex Stein. You know, so people don't really get me. I don't think. But anyway, yeah, this is a 5-minute long video. We're just over halfway through it. Man, the guy's got content. If he was a rapper, we'd say he's got bars. Someone should put this to a beat and see if it's any good, actually.
The malarkey Marjorie's meaningless nonsense. Congress Karen's current narrative is that climate change is good. I certainly hope so, Marjorie, since the Sinister Six on the Supreme Court just decided to limit the Environmental Protection Agency's power to combat climate change. I know Marjorie is just beaming like a Jewish space laser, just like she was when they...
Oh, see, I was going to say it. He's probably going to bring up Jewish space lasers. Man, that's harder to say than I thought it was. It's always... I mean, if you were a mainstream media consumer, I could see how you would just be rolling over this. This is probably absolutely hilarious. I was waiting for the Jewish space lasers. It's like the, which is not what she said. Again, if you actually go and look at what she said, that's the funniest part is if you look it up. But it always reminds me of, I mean, I'm sure it's out there. I mean, this is... We're getting off the beaten path here, but I was thinking about this, man. If he says it, I'm going to pull it up. They really think that this is the kind of stuff that Marjorie Taylor Greene, like, believes in? But this is good comedy right here.
C. Jews in space.
Come on, History of the World Part 2.
Zooming along, protecting the Hebrew race. If Jews are in space.
This is one of my favorite movies, man.
Put it right back in its place. When Goyle attack us, we'll give them a smack, we'll slap them right back in the face.
Why did we not ever get a sequel to this? Come on, Mel Brooks. We deserved a sequel. We deserved a sequel.
Returned Roe v. Wade. She said she was so happy she could cry, like she could muster up enough moisture to make a single tear. You could always go with so happy I could die. I like that. And we all will if we don't take climate change seriously, but I'm gonna leave y'all here with Dwayne Chapwoman. And I want everybody to have a great fucking day unless you support this yeast-coated raisin. Take it away, Marjacille.
This earth warming and carbon is actually healthy for us. We've already warmed 1 degree Celsius, and do you know what's happened since then? Here, let me tell you. We have had more food grown since then, which feeds people. We are able to, producing fossil fuels keeps people's houses warm in the winter. That saves people's lives. People die in the cold.
Right.
I am definitely going to follow this guy, though.
Warming and carbon is actually healthy for us. It helps us to feed people. It helps keep people alive. It helps. The earth is more green than it was years and years ago, and that's because of the earth warming. That's because of carbon.
What's up?
I mean, I don't know how much that has to do with carbon. I don't really know that, but the earth is greener, actually, which is hilarious because you see all the photos that try to show you the opposite. we post. Man, that's my I spend too much time on the internet, I guess now. We plant a lot of plants, man. We plant a lot of trees. We have for a long time.
We have a special guest from Texas here in Colorado. It's Ann.
I don't care.
What's up, fuckers? It's tea time.
Of course this guy votes Beto. Did I just miss that? Was he wearing that shirt before? What shirt was he wearing?
What's up, fuckers?
Oh, no, I can't tell what shirt he's wearing.
What's
this
up,
guy
fuckers?
out here,
It's tea
Beto.
time. Today we have the persona.
Everything that I might have thought that was decent about this guy, it's now gone away. But son of a bitch, does he try, and I respect it. I respect it.
Personification of the 7 deadly sins. Well, 6 of them. Anyone who endorses pumpkin tits after he calls their wife ugly and father a murderer doesn't have an ounce of pride in him, but worry not. There's more than enough greed seeping through this gluttonous snollygoster's rancid pores to make up for that. Other than pride, the only thing I see missing here is Princess Leia in chains and a bikini. Just kidding. Ted already has a pet. That little dog that was named after him. Snowflake. Ted is very sensitive. I imagine it stems from that Funko Pop-sized head or ample nostrils that are always glistening like sunlight on a lake. Y'all remember in 2016 when Ted ate a booger on TV? It wasn't sugar-coated like Don Jr.'s, but I know he enjoyed it just the same. But that sensitivity is what brings on Ted's wrath, which isn't a good thing for a politician, but especially Ted. If he gets too hot-headed, we might have a grease fire on our hands. That hair is greasier than a bicycle chain. Which reminds me, today Ted's hair is being sponsored by Pennzoil. The proof is in the Pennzoil. I'm kidding. Ted gets his money from the NRA, and Lobotomy Bobert gets her money from Fledcan Cruise. Almost $140,000 to be exact. But we'll talk about that hollow-headed hoochie another day. Today's about Teddy, and I can hear you heavy mouth breathing from over here, Ted. Everything Ted does triggers my fight or flight, and I don't know how to fly. But he does, though, all the way to Cancun while we were here freezing to death. Then he blamed it on his children, which is very on brand for Ted. Ted never seems to have the backs of children. Buckle up, bitches, here we go. Just days after 19 children were slaughtered in Uvalde in another mass shooting, Ted spoke at an NRA meeting. Oopsie-doopsie. To let us all know that our country's problem with mass shootings isn't about guns and never has been.
I followed this guy. I think I might make a video about him. He's actually worth talking about. He's not as ridiculous as some of these other people. Because he's just roasting people, you know.
Ted wants to ban books instead of
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Anti-racist baby. But it's not only books. It appears he wants to ban doors too. He wants school buildings having just one point of entry, heavily guarded by multiple armed police officers or military veterans. And I'm just wondering if it's the police officers who stood outside the school for 45 minutes while a gunman gunned down the school children, or if it's the veterans that he voted against in 2014.
That's what, I just don't get these stupid arguments about that, though. It's like they attack the Uvalde police as if it's somehow a gotcha to the other side. No. I've seen the most vicious attacks to the Uvalde police come from the right. Them saying that, like, I mean, the way I feel about it is that whole police department should be dissolved. Everyone should be fired. You should get rid of it. and put those different jurisdictions together with the two most nearest ones and start the fuck over. You got to start completely over. You don't get to have these people pretend to be police officers and do what they did. But isn't it interesting that they always, the way that like this guy's coming at it is like well, I'm insulting them and you support them. No, no one supports them. No one thinks they are good people. No one. And you think we'd be able to find common ground on this, but apparently we can't. We have to, I don't know. I'm not saying that that's necessarily what he's doing because, like I said, I think I might make a video about this guy. I think he's kind of funny. I mean, he's completely ignorant, but he is kind of funny. I can appreciate it.
My records, what Ted voted against in 2014 was the largest piece of veterans legislation in decades, aimed at expanding health care, education, and other benefits.
God, and he's making me want to speak with more of an accent the more that I keep listening to this guy. I mean, not his accent, but not Gilbert's accent.
For veterans. Just in case.
You definitely don't have a leg to stand on anywhere in politics if you wear a freaking Beto O'Rourke t-shirt. I mean, it's an interesting choice for a guy who roasts politicians to wear a Beto shirt. I mean, come on. He wasn't even popular among Democrats or leftists at all. That guy's a clown. I would have assumed to see a Bernie shirt, like an old Bernie bro shirt, like that. I feel like that would have made sense. Beto, really? Okay.
In case any red voting veterans wanted to write that down. Now, Ted also says the arguments about gun problems in the U.S. are being pushed by elites who dominate our culture, a group that he said includes the rich and powerful, media figures and celebrities who can afford an indulgent ideology. Let's talk about rich and powerful. In 2019, the NRA spent over $3 million to benefit the political campaigns of senators who opposed gun safety legislation.
I'm just so tired of hearing about the NRA, man. Who gives a flying fuck about the NRA?
In 2020, they spent over $2 million throwing money at senators who oppose gun reform, like expanding Brady background checks and banning assault weapons. And Big Ted Cruz is one of the top recipients of political contributions from the NRA and other gun rights contributors. He's raked in almost $750,000.
This is just something that I've learned over the years, and right-wingers do this too. The NRA and other gun rights groups, and the NRA and others. Yeah, now I'm suspicious that you're being slightly disingenuous with whatever you're about to say. And the right-wingers do it too, where they do that like, they got major donations from the so-and-so and others. And it's like, I feel like the only reason you threw and others on there is because you wanted to just say the NRA or the whatever LGBTQ activist group, if it's, right-wing talking about it. You just wanted to say that, but you knew you'd get your ass chewed out for that, and it wouldn't particularly be right to say that. So you had to throw and others on there. And I just hate that kind of shit. Give me this double speak nonsense. I mean, tell me what you think and what's going on. And others. That's like different mainstream media outlets like CNN and the New York Times coming out and saying, anonymous experts say these things. Oh, well, shit. I better write this down. So, man, wow. Well, now this sounds credible.
Over his entire career. So I wouldn't believe a fucking word that comes out of his mouth about anything, but especially on the subject of guns not being the issue in mass shootings. The problem is guns, and we'll never make any progress on gun reform until the organizations who rely on a lack of gun control are no longer allowed to buy politicians' votes. Ted Cruz has put a price tag on your children, and the only way to show Teddy that your children are priceless is by voting blue.
Now I want everybody to have a great fucking day unless you support this bloated booger-eating bitch.
And I love this stuff. He actually would be better, like a better writer for these late night people than what they have. I could appreciate it. I could get a little chuckle out of some of his stuff. But it always comes back to this. These people are selling out these things for political reasons. So believe me when I tell you, the only thing you can do is vote for the person I say you should vote for. He smells a hypocrite. What do you... They're doing this for political reasons, and they're selling everybody out for politics, and it's all about politics to get votes, and that's it. So to stop them, vote for me. To vote for my guy. Oh, yeah, well, you're playing a completely different kind of game. My bad. I totally missed that. You're completely different. So this was a person that I looked up because Libs of TikTok posted one of her videos. And man, if you can't tell just from all the thumbnails of these videos, it did not disappoint to look this up because holy shit. This woman is crazy. This is like the quintessential TikTok crazy that everyone looks for when you go, oh, TikTok videos? Well, here it is. Let's see, where should we start? Actually, if you didn't watch this person on Libs of TikTok, maybe that's where we should start, is watch that video on Libs of TikTok. Oh, here she is. I mean, she just looks...
what it considers child...
She just looks like a healthy, sane human being, right? That looks like a person who's got their shit together.
I'm a doctor, and apparently the state of Texas needs to reconsider what it considers child abuse. Because you know what's abusive? Ignoring the needs of your child when your child is telling you what they need. And engaging in behavior as a parent that could lead them to unalive themselves. Over 80% of trans youth have admitted to having thoughts about unaliving themselves, and over 50% have actually attempted it. In these individuals, denying them care.
You cannot be what appears to be in your mid to late 40s. You cannot be a person of this age with 8 different colors in your hair and be considered an authority on anything. Nothing. That does not exist. You can't be 47 years old and have 6 different rainbow colors in your hair and expect me or any other reasonable human being to listen to any of the shit that comes out of your mouth. Whether you're a doctor or not. That's just impossible. You can be someone who's in their mid to late 40s, into their 50s. Hell, you could be a 75-year-old woman with pink hair. Go ahead. You have to know that you're not living a serious life. You have to know that no one wants to hear your political opinions. And wear that as a badge of honor. Be like, I'm 75 and I just like having a good time. Cool, good for you. Well done. Have a good time. Don't talk to me about anything serious. I would never want to hear it. It's going to go one in ear and out the other. It's crazy.
That we know is life-saving is child abuse. And it is proven that providing them gender-affirming care strongly reduces those risks.
By who and where?
I got plenty of receipts for these comments. You can check my link tree.
Please do.
I will die on this hill. Trans rights are human rights. And it doesn't matter the age of the person. We all deserve to live our truth. I'm a doctor, and apparently the state of Texas needs to reconsider what it considers child abuse.
Come on, that is some batshit crazy stuff. I don't care. It's just remarkable. When did this kind of nonsense take over? I mean, it's insane. It is completely insane. Be a Democrat. Be a leftist. What is this insanity about children and their sexuality and their gender identity? I hope that she does, quote unquote, die on this hill. Of course, I mean this metaphorically, as she did. Please, please stick your flag right here. Because this is going to be the quickest way that we get over this. Because most people hear this and they go, holy shit, what? I did not realize you were this crazy. But as I said, if you're a woman who appears to be in her 40s and has 6 different colors in your hair, that was a sure sign. It was a sure sign. Let's see, where's... I guess we'll start with her debunking COVID conspiracy.
Let's hit a COVID conspiracy theory, shall we?
Let's do
Time
it.
and time again, people who do not support that COVID is real or that the vaccination helps you seem to also be the people who failed basic math in high school. I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying that this is like truly a genuine thing that I've observed. It's also highlighted for me the alarming need.
She's trying to claim that she's not knocking you when she clearly insulted you. No, let's be clear. I was knocking her and I was insulting her. I'm not lying. She's over here already lying. By claiming you didn't pass high school math, elementary school math. Oh, yeah. But I'm not knocking you. That's like being like, listen, I know that I just called you an ugly bitch and I spit in your face, but I'm not insulting you. Oh, okay. Well, thank God for that.
Need for us to teach better statistics in high school classes. So I actually keep getting people say, it seems like the boosted people keep getting COVID over and over. So this is multifactorial. So the last time I heard it was in terms of me. Yeah, I got COVID twice because my kid had an exposure. And then I had a big exposure being a good Samaritan. You can go back and watch that video. But the reason this is happening is 1, basic statistics. So most people are boosted and COVID is really contagious right now. So people who may have gotten it early before vaccination are getting it again. 2, people who are boosted are more likely to...
Okay, but what about the people who've never had a shot and still haven't gotten it and still go out in public? That's the point. I hate this stuff. It's so disingenuous. Well, statistics. Look how many people are, have had the vaccine and have been boosted. So, of course, some of them will get it. Really? Some of them? I mean, come on. If this wasn't a... If that's all that was happening, every single unvaccinated person would have had COVID like 18 fucking times already. But okay. I guess after this rant in this video, I probably need to move on to something else or my channel will get taken down.
to go out and test than the people who are not vaccinated or under vaccinated. So they probably have it and we just don't know. Third, if you account for the statistics, this isn't even true. Follow for more.
Oh man, she just quoted Donald Trump and didn't even know it. Man, what a bitch or Rooney Dooney.
This is part 2 of how I lost it on an anti-mask, anti-COVID Karen today.
Oh, well, we certainly need to go back to part 1. There we go.
And,
anti-mask Karen, let's go.
Happened. I lost it on an anti-vax, anti-mask Karen in a store bullying.
I would be interested to see if this woman she's talking about ever actually said she was anti-vax. I'm not anti-vax. I've also never gotten the COVID vaccine, but I'm not anti-vax. But sure, let's just go with that.
Bullying an employee in front of my kids. So pull up a chair because you're in for an interesting story.
Oh, I'm ready.
To get through this while my toddler is napping in her car seat before we go in the house. Before anyone asks, I still just haven't gotten my voice back. I feel 100% fine, not sick at all. I have COVID tested. I don't even know how many times in the last 7 days since I've had symptoms of the sore throat thing. Nobody else is sick, and nobody else is tested positive, so it's not COVID for sure. So today,
This is very common on TikTok. Did you just hear the amount of time that she spent explaining how it's not COVID? I know it's not COVID. I have been responsible. It's like this plea to the people watching to be like, please don't chastise me for this. Please don't do what I do to other people. I'm one of the good ones. It's like the people who spray painted or the people who put a sign outside their business because they didn't want it to get spray painted. They put a sign in their window that said Black Lives Matter. And it was basically them just saying like, hey, look, I agree with you. Please don't destroy my business. And then the business gets destroyed anyway. But, you know, okay.
Today, I finally took my kids out to a museum. Museums in Los Angeles are really cool. They require masking and proof of vaccination. So I took 3 of my kids. They were fully masked, as was I, in a K95. At the end, we go to the small gift shop. If my kids are going to buy toys somewhere, I'd rather it be at like a museum or someplace where actually the money goes back to feeding the museum that's doing good for mankind, too. So I'm okay usually letting them pick out a small trinket. That's what we were looking for.
Man, saying she was going to try to do this while her toddler was asleep, and holy shit, she's talking real loud. And actually, the reason why this isn't more than one part is because look at her comment. Ugh. She woke up. That little toddler. Oh, she woke up. Wow.
Looking for. He walks the Karen. Yeah, running out of time. Part 2 soon.
I love how none of that so-and-so part that so-called part 1 didn't even tell any of the story. But she did spend half the video explaining about how she knows for a fact it's not COVID, which is super, super duper important.
I'm a doctor, and this is part 2 of how I lost it on an anti-mask, anti-COVID Karen today at a museum store. If you missed part 1, I'll link it with this video. Go back and check that one first. So when I left off, she had just...
Yeah, go check it first. You would have lost a lot of context. Considering she didn't even start the story, but surely you'd miss the context. Go back and watch the first one.
Entered the store, and I was up front with my
okay, here we go. I'm ready.
About to check out. And so she has no mask on. Her kids are adult with her, one adult kid and like the boyfriend. And they walk in, and these young girls up front were super sweet. They're like, I'm so sorry, ma'am, could you please put on a mask? We have this policy, la la la. She goes, oh, sure. Proceeds to not put on her mask as she walks in when people with her did. Okay, and she's sipping water, and she makes this whole thing. Oh, I'm drinking my water, so I'm not going to put on my mask until I'm finished. I don't want to pass out. Keep in mind, it was cold. We're near the beach, okay? This shenanigan has clearly been a thing she's done in the past, and she just keeps going on and on. Okay, so I'm about out of time. Part 3 in a second. I'm a doctor.
I would love to know how she knows that, by the way. This shenanigan is clearly something she's done in the past. How do you know that? Oh, Neelan, you're absolutely right. This is, she was being the Karen. She saw someone who didn't have a mask on, and she approached them. And then how all of these stories go, she acts as if it was the other person who somehow was instigating this situation. I had people talk to me during the early days of the lockdowns when I would go into gas stations. It was very rare because, you know, I'm... when I have my boots on and everything, I mean, I'm almost 6'3", and I'm like 218 pounds, and I have a big beard and a bunch of tattoos, so generally people don't say shit to me at all. But I did have a few people say stuff to me, and they act as if I've somehow offended them when they... Hey, can you put on a mask? And I would just say... Oh, you know, I appreciate it. No, thanks. I'm not going to do that. And then they start freaking out on me. Hey, you came to me and you asked me something, and I said politely, no, I appreciate it, thank you, I'm not going to do that. I never attacked anybody. I never like freaked out on them. Like, why you let me wear a mask? Oh, my freedoms. No, I just said no, thank you. I'm not going to do that. Have a good day. Most of the time, that was enough. Because I would be like, it'd be when I'm coming up to the register, you know, at a gas station. And you know, at the beginning of the lockdowns, there was almost no one even out. And most places were closed. So it's not like there was a bunch of people there. Usually I was the only person in there besides the cashier. And they just didn't know what to say to me. And so they would just ring me up and give me, you know, that 40 ounce or whatever I was buying. And then they'd be like, okay. And they'd be okay with it. But I also love the people who, I guess now we're getting onto my COVID stories of the times when I was on the road and I was kind of traveling across the country during the lockdowns as someone who refused to wear a mask because I was like, well, that's fucking stupid. And why won't you do it? I don't want to. Well, why? It doesn't fucking matter why. I don't want to. So I'm not going to do it. Which is the kind of person I've always been. It's like, well, I don't want to do that. Well, would you have to? Yeah, see, the thing is, though, I'm not. So we're at a crossroads here. What are we going to do? You know? But I had tons of places that I walked into especially when I was getting closer to like Colorado and stuff, that like, they acted like them telling me that they would refuse me service because I wasn't wearing a mask was like this big gotcha. We live in such a crazy consumer culture that like a gas station who's not willing to sell you a Gatorade is enough to make you go, oh my God, please, I'm going to put my mask on. No, every single time it happened, I said, oh no, okay, that's cool, I get it. It's your business. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go somewhere else. I mean, you don't have to be crazy about it. You just be like, okay, fine. I'll go somewhere else. There's other businesses. I mean, I don't have to be here. But they always said it in like this accusatory way of like, well, we won't do this for you. Okay, fine. I don't need you to. And you don't need to do this for me. So I might as well I'll go somewhere else. But man, it was always accusatory, you know? It's about like, it's the people who are obsessed with things like Starbucks who got really into this. You know, they'd be like, well, you know, I don't really believe in the mask stuff or whatever, but, you know, I needed to get my Starbucks. So, you know, I would wear it, you know, when I would do that. Then I was like, well, then you're an idiot. I don't know. Oh, you have bigger problems. No, I never had any problem. People act like, well, there was certain times that I just had to. I didn't. I never had any time that I had to. Never happened. Not once. And I was actually, like I said, traveling across the country at the time. So it wasn't like I was, you know, I was in my, you know, at my farm and just completely alone where, well, I didn't have to. No, I was traveling across the country. This was a complete choice. It was a complete choice. Didn't mean that it didn't make it harder. Like I said, you'd have to go to a different gas station or something, but how hard is that? We'll just go across the street. They're not assholes over there. I'll just go over there. I mean, have your mask mandate. Go fuck yourself. I'm not wearing it. But anyway, let's continue. I guess I'm as Dr. Mom here says, a anti-mask COVID denier Karen bully. I guess that's me.
I'm a doctor, and this is part 3 of my COVID Karen story from today. I'll link part 1 from my encounter at the museum, so you can follow the whole thing along. So the Karen enters the museum store, and the sweet girl has asked her really politely.
She really cares that you have the context, even though both of these other videos, there's not a story here. This isn't a story. This is nonsense. Well, that's simple. It's because she's a doctor.
Could you put on masks? She fakes having...
Oh, come on, Nealon. Did you come in after my my colored hair rant for people over 40? I can't believe you missed that. That was a good one. I'll probably clip that and post it as its as its own video.
Water with her and that she's sipping. So when the nice lady goes up to her, this girl is like in her very early 20s, and this woman is probably in her late 50s, has a total Karen haircut, blonde, white, of course. And she is saying to this girl, oh, I'm not taking a mask from you. No, I have a mask. This is not constitutional. She's like going on and on, like literally berating this poor young girl about asking her to put on her mask. And she says to her kindly, she's like, you can leave if not, I don't want to get in trouble. And she was like, I put it on, I'll put it on. But this is like ridiculous. COVID is over, masks will protect you. She's going on and on. Finally, I'd had enough.
COVID isn't over because COVID never started. We need to start getting that through our heads. Okay? Because I've seen this used as when people say that COVID's over, and we all know what they mean by that. When someone says COVID's over, like if this person actually said that, I don't know if they did because I don't necessarily believe any of this stuff. But it's like, wait, COVID is over. When you say that to people like here in the chat, if I said, listen, COVID's over, and you're like, well, I know exactly what Swamp means when he says that because I know his opinions and I know what he thinks and I know what he means by that. The media hysteria is over. The public hysteria is over. Let's get over it. But these people who are insane, like this woman in her mid to late 40s who's got 6 different colors in her hair, what she hears is something completely different. So you need to just start saying, no, COVID was never a problem. It's not over. It never was a thing, okay? This was mass hysteria. This was absolutely mass hysteria. It's over. Something would have had to have started for it to be over. And if you watched any of my videos about COVID, you know that I know and acknowledge that COVID-19 is a thing. Of course it's a thing. You know what also is a thing? The flu, the chicken pox. I mean, like, things that... The common cold is a thing. It exists. But we don't shit ourselves every time someone gets sick.
And I definitely turned to her. I said, could you shut up and just put on the damn mask? And I was at the counter with my kids at the time.
Oh, yeah, you sound like the sane one.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Somebody, who are you to tell me about this? And then
like I said earlier, I told you. I said it. I was like, she's going to be the one because most of the time they tell these stories as if they're the victims. She's even acknowledging that she's the one who's causing the problem. The woman said, I'll put the mask on. And this psycho just won't let it go.
And I definitely turned to her. I said, could you shut up and just put on the damn mask? And I was at the counter with my kids at the time. And she looks at me like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Somebody, who are you to tell
She already said earlier that the woman said she would put the mask on.
me about this? And then I told her exactly who I was to tell her about it. I said, I'm a physician who's been on the front line for 2.5 years. And frankly, I'm tired.
Oh, on the front line. Ring the bell. Jesus, I need to get a frontline heroes. Frontline heroes. Oh, it's the frontline heroes. Have you heard? The frontline heroes. This was their fucking Iwo Jima. This was, oh my God, the frontline heroes. They're frontline heroes. Do you know how many dancing TikTok videos from nurses saved lives? These are frontline heroes. Absolute frontline heroes.
Entitled people like you, and I'm tired of people bullying others because of it. You need to stop talking and put on your mask or leave and stop treating her that way. And so then, okay.
Every single line in this, you have to stop bullying others. What are you doing? What are you doing? Aren't you bullying this woman? Okay.
I turn back around to go pay. I'm ignoring you at this point. We're done. And she's under her breath. Don't you know anything? That's not how you get COVID. Like on and on. And so it just kept going.
That literally is not how you get
I ignore
COVID.
her,
So,
I
I
pay.
mean, that is
and the girls
true.
at the front were like practically in tears saying, oh my God, this happens to us multiple times a day. Thank you so much. Nobody's ever stood up for us before. I said, it's never okay for people to talk to you that way. It's never okay.
And it always ends with, and everyone clapped. No one's ever stood up for us like that before. They all praised me and said how great I was. And everyone clapped. That's how you know a story's legit. Everyone clapped.
Or leave and stop treating her that way. And so then, okay, I turn back around to go pay. I'm ignoring you at this point. We're done. And she's under her breath. Don't you know anything? That's not how you get COVID. Like on and on. And so it just kept going. So I ignore her. I pay. And the girls at the front were like practically in tears saying, oh my God, this happens to us multiple times a day. Thank you so much. Nobody's ever stood up for us before.
No
I said,
one's
it's
ever
never okay
stood up
for people
for
to
us.
talk to you that way. It's never okay for anyone to treat you like that just for doing your job. They should respect you, and that's not okay. And so then the woman starts yelling, oh, great mom, cursing in front of your kids. I said, what I should have said was, yeah, I'm teaching them to stand up for the right thing. And
I think this whole thing is what I should have said, because I don't think any of this happened. I'm pretty sure. Why I'm always able to call these things out. And, a lot of times you never explain to somebody when you see some video and you go, well, clearly that never happened. You never actually go into the psychology of why this never happened. The psychology behind this is every single person knows a time that you're out in public, but you're a reasonable human being, right? Someone does something that you disagree with. They do something or they say something to you, and basically you ignore them, right? You just go, okay, yeah, what the fuck ever, who cares? And then, especially if you're at a grocery store, right, and something happens, or someone maybe you just briefly bump into each other, and somebody kind of says something off the cuff, but then you both keep walking away from each other, and that's it. You go through your brain in a split second will go through an entire scenario of what that person could have said to you and how you could have responded to them, and how you, in a split second, you feel like you know everything about that person, even though it was just a quick bump in the grocery store. You feel like you know that in the split second. Sane people go, yeah, that would be funny. And then you just go about your day. Because that pops into your head because of all of your life experiences, and you go, this person was probably like this, and in a split second you go through this whole scenario. Sane people have that happen, and you know that's just your brain making things up. The stories that these people tell sound exactly like those stories that you have that just are. You can't even help it. The stories that just are manifested in your brain when something happens that's kind of inconvenient or someone's kind of rude to you. Your brain just comes up with these stories. Whether they're extreme or they're mild or whatever. But you do kind of run through that in your head for a second right after. And these people, they don't understand. Why is everyone saying this is fake? It's because, listen, people aren't that different. There is a fundamental, humanity that exists in all of us, and people do this. Even people that you think are the right-wing crazies, even the ones you think are a crazy cartoon on the internet, this happens. That's how I know you're full of shit. Because those things don't happen in real life. I have been there, and countless times in my life, someone bumps into you. Someone cuts you off, it takes your parking spot. You don't interact with that person. You just go, son of a bitch. And your head in 2 seconds comes up with a dozen different scenarios. But then you continue on your merry way. You just keep going. But these stories that these people tell, That's the stories. The stories that pop into your head when someone cuts you off, when someone steals your parking spot, when someone bumps into you with their cart at a grocery store. Like, that's the stories that they're telling. These are not real stories. They don't happen in real life. I mean, am I crazy on this? Because I'm pretty sure that at least that's how I see it. It's how I'm able to pull. You can call this out every time where you go, oh, that never happened. I don't need to waste any more of my time on this. I mean, that never happened. I don't need to listen to you about this because I'm also a human being. And I know that this does not have a ring of truth to it. This has the ring of something that was in your head. And especially this nonsense now about how the cashier said thank you. And now, you know what? No, this is I raise my kids to stand for something. Get the fuck out of here, man. Get out of here with that. Are you crazy? You're telling me in this public place you were gonna go on a rant about how you raise your children to be better than this? Get the fuck. No. Come on. Because if you really were raising your children to be better than this, you would not have done that. This never would have happened. If you felt that it was important, when you got away from the moment, you would explain it to your children. That's what my parents did for me. When something happened that was kind of uncomfortable, and it was uncomfortable enough that they knew that, like, me and my brother could tell that it was uncomfortable. Because, young kids don't usually pick up on stuff like that. But if they do, you don't make a scene. You don't scream at the other people. You pull the kid aside and you say, here's what happened. This is kind of why this person acted this way. And this is, you whatever age the kid is, you give an appropriate answer, but you explain it to your child so that they're not then worried or uncomfortable for the rest of the day, right? You explain it to them. You know what would be detrimental to your child is for you to just start screaming at some random stranger in a fucking public place. And even as sick as some of these people are, most people actually won't do that. Even if they're crazy COVID doctors or leftists, most people actually don't do that. So that's how I know this story's bullshit. Write it down. I'll be waiting for the 10-page explanation, the transcript of what Swamp ranting about nonsense. I'm ready for it. Someone email it to me. Write it down.
To stand up for other people. What I said instead.
I'm going to sell it. I'll sell it on the merch store. Swamp Rambling Part 1.
Your job, they should respect you, and that's not okay. And so then the woman starts yelling, oh, great mom, cursing in front of your kids. I said, what I should have said was, yeah, I'm teaching them to stand up for the right thing and to stand up for other people. What I said instead was, yeah, better than you. And I turned around and grabbed my stuff, and she was near the door. And of course,
That's a pretty good blanket explanation. If you don't want to get into like the specific interaction, and that's why you don't do drugs. That's true. That's a good blanket. Just this is why you don't do drugs, kids.
It kept going about like anti-COVID stuff. To which I replied, you have the day you deserve. Okay, bye. So I walked my kids out, who are looking a little bit large-eyed at me at this point. And I said, Mom, I'm sorry for cursing. I shouldn't have done that. I said, but it's very important. You always stand up for the right thing. And if you're not going to be in a dangerous situation, you always stand up to bullying. Every single time. Do you hear me? It's never okay for somebody to speak to someone else that way. And I explained
as you just admitted to bullying somebody. That's what I just don't understand is these words are used in a way to just justify what I think is true. It doesn't matter if am I actually bullying somebody? No, it doesn't matter. I'm in the right.
Woman kept yelling, it's just my opinion, which wasn't clearly my opinion, which was educated, didn't matter.
Oh, I'm educated. I'm an expert.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion politely. Did I handle this right? Let me know.
Well, you did not.
3 of my COVID.
As a matter of fact, you did not. Thank you for asking. Dr. Mom, you did not handle this appropriately. So it has been, we've been live for an hour and 45 now. This is going to sound like a joke, but I actually have to go out and make sure the chickens are back in the coop and everything's safe and secure out there. So I'm going to end this here. I will continue the live stream on the second channel. So please come hang out there. I want to try to get the main channel to be a little bit more of, you know, planned out shows where the streams are no longer than like 2 hours, which is clearly not what I've done for a long time. I know a lot of people don't like that stuff. A lot of people aren't into the major long streams and all that stuff, and people don't even like streams at all. I think if I can keep these short enough and take clips out of it, people will enjoy that. The second channel, The Swamp Plays, be for games, and I'll play music and, you know, do all that kind of stuff over there. So subscribe to that if you have not subscribed to that, because I'm going to go take care of the chickens real quick, and then I'll be back for another stream. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna jump on the second channel when I come back in. I feel like I could probably get more people interested in the Friday show and Over the Legal Limit and the TikTok Tuesdays if I'm not running it for 7.5 hours. Oh, we'll do the 7.5 hour long streams. Don't get me wrong, but those will be on the second channel. I want to make sure I'm getting more videos up and getting live streams that people can actually go back and watch later that are not. I mean, no one's gonna watch a 6.5 hour long live stream. I mean, I sure as hell wouldn't. So yeah, I'm gonna go take care of the chickens. I'm gonna be back in just a little bit on the second channel. So hopefully I'll see you guys over there.